value. There is difference between what? Cost and value. Explanation and the language and the training and the teachings are just something that differs from what you are saying. Understanding. كل يعمل على شاكلته وربكم أعلم بمن هو أهدى السبيل. Everyone should maintain that course of what you are certain of it. Da ma yaribuka ila ma la yaribuka. Leave what give you confusion and do what you are certain about it. In summary, there is a verse in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Allah said, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu alaykum anfusakum la yadurrukum man dalla idha tadaytum ila Allahi marji'ukum fayunabbi'ukum bima kuntum ta'malun. This verse was heard by one Sahaba. He saw someone doing what is bad. They said, why don't you tell him? He said, has finished it all. He said, Allah say, alaykum anfusakum. Maintain yourself. What concerns you is only yourself. The Sahaba beside him said, no, don't misinterpret this ayah. Alaykum anfusakum. Why did Allah say it? And what is the comment of the Prophet on this verse? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu alaykum anfusakum. What the ayah is saying is lasta alayhim bimusaytir. You are not to compel anybody on anything. Alaykum anfusakum. If you tell people that this is the right thing and they insisted this is the right thing, you tell them that this thing is wrong and they fail to leave it. Alaykum anfusakum. You maintain your own. La yadurrukum man dalla idha tadaytum. How does it concern you? Someone that chooses to go that way. Idha tadaytum. If you have known the right path, maintain that right path. Don't enforce them and say they must. Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 105. Allah said alaykum anfusakum. When the meaning of the ayah was seek from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, "Amma wallahi." The Sahaba said, "Amma wallahi faqad sa'alta anha khabiran, sa'alat anha Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." I asked someone to ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about this ayah. Faqala, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, "I'tamiru bil ma'ruf." I'tamiru bil ma'ruf. Don't say because people will see you as an extremist, you will stop calling people to order. I'tamiru bil ma'ruf. Ask people, enjoy people to do what is right. Watanahu anil munkar. Watanahu anil munkar.
This section, maintenance.
Watanahu anil munkar. Stop people, enjoy people not to do what is bad. Hatta idha ra'ayta shahan muta'an wa hawa mutba'an. Continue to preach the people. Continue to call people to order until when you see that their selfish interest is dominating their affairs. No matter how you try to lead them to the right path, they continue to do what they wish. Wa dunya mu'affara. The moment you see that people begin to prefer the worldly things than this religion, وَإِجَابُ كُلَّ ذِي رَأْيٍ بِرَأْيِهِ. When you begin to see that everybody wants to do his own will, you never want to follow any other good thing you say to them from Quran and Hadith. That is فَعَلَيْكَ أَنفُسَكَ فَعَلَيْكَ بِخَاصَةِ نَفْسِكَ. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam say, فَعَلَيْكَ بِخَاصَةِ نَفْسِكَ. It is then you hold on to yourself. وَدَعَ عَنْكَ أَمْرُ الْعَامَّةِ. Don't say because the majority are doing these things. If what the majority are doing is not right, there is no concern about that. فَإِنَّ مِنْ وَرَائِكُمْ أَيَّامًا صَبْرٌ. He was telling the Sahaba, he said there are days coming after you, the Sahaba. We call those days of patience. Muslims at that time have to be tolerant. Muslims at that time have to be patient, and this is the time. The Prophet has said it. He said, فَإِنَّ مِنْ وَرَائِكُمْ أَيَّامَ صَبْرٍ فِيهِنَّ مِثْلُ الْقَبْضِ عَلَى الْجَبْرِ. Doing what is right at that time will be as tough as you picking a fire and holding it in your palm like this. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said it. That time, if that time comes for you to do what is right, you will find it difficult, like you burning your hand into fire. Because only few will want to do what is right. لِلْعَامِلِ فِيهِنَّ مِثْلُ أَجْرَ 50 رَجُلًا يَعْمَلُونَ مِثْلَ عَمَلِكُمْ. He said, for anyone among them who strive to do what is right, that time, Allah will give that person reward of 50 Sahabas. Allah will give that person reward of 50 Sahabas. That is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, فِيهِنَّ لِلْعَامِلِ فِيهِنَّ مِثْلَ أَجْرَ 50 رَجُلًا يَعْمَلُونَ مِثْلَ عَمَلِكُمْ. Somebody now asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Ya Rasulullah, أَجْرَ 50 مِنَّا أَوْ مِنْهُمْ. Are you saying that anybody that did what is right, what is good that time, will be given a reward of 50 people among them, or reward of like 50 people among the Sahaba? Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Bal ajra 50 minkum." The reward of 50 Sahaba. So this hadith is pointing it out that the era at which we are now, to do what is lawful, to do what is good, is as difficult as you burning your hand in the fire. But if you can do it, Allah will give you the reward of 50 Sahabas. This hadith was narrated by Abu Dawood wa Tirmidhi wa ghayrihima. So we should try as much as possible to prevent the extremism by minding the kind of books we teach our children. We should be mindful of the kind of films they watch. And we should always preach patience and tolerance to them. Patience and tolerance to them. Somebody went to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Awsini ya Rasulallah, admonish me ya Rasulallah." He said, "La taghdab, don't be angry." He said, "Zidli ya Rasulallah, add more to me." He said, "La taghdab." The man said again, "Add more to me ya Rasulallah." He said, "La taghdab." Add more ya Rasulallah, la taghdab. The more he continued to say, I need more admonition, he continued to say, be patient, don't be angry. Be patient, don't be angry. What we need to preach among the students, firstly, we have to let them know how to be patient and tolerant. We have to let them know that we are diverse. Al-Quran has said it. Surah Al-Hud, chapter 114, chapter 118 to 119. Allah says, "La yazaluna mukhtalifin." You will never cease to disagree. Let them know that. You will never cease to disagree. And you let them know what is right from what is wrong. Then you prevent them from unwanted and heated arguments. Fajtanibil jadala. Arguments will always add to extremism in the class. So with this, I want to thank you all for listening to this presentation. What is right there, we ask Allah to reward our scholars, our parents that took care of us, that led us to doing this. May Allah reward them abundantly. And the ones that are wrong there, which are mistakes and error from us, may Allah forgive us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Madam. The next on our agenda now is question and answers. I believe we all have one or two things to be clear of. Please let us raise up our hands so that we can do that quickly. Question and answers. Yes. Okay.
I have two questions. Question number one, the Sir mentioned the name of the book, Kitab Mafhum al-Bid'ah. The writer stepped in my mind. I'd like to start to remind of the writer of the book Mafhum al-Bid'ah. That's question number one. The question number two is I would like to know the origin of extremism among the Muslims. Because since I am a little bit confused about the subject of extremism, I don't want to mention the question, I don't want to mention an example, but what's really happening in the society, I tend to suspect a little bit carelessness from the government and things like that. Because I want to mention a little bit the issue of Boko Haram we mentioned later. Certainly, before it became a dangerous problem in Nigeria, there are some scholars that pointed out the issue, but nothing was done until it became a serious case in Nigeria. That's why I'm saying maybe Ustaz can a little bit expand the issue. I tend to believe that not only just the preaching the Malams are having, but there are something hidden. I would like your Ustaz to, because we need to bring things clear. I know there are some scholars, there are some Malams, as you said, we are very grateful about the preaching. We need to stand by the teaching of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But I'm a little confused. Maybe there are some hands behind the issue. Thank you very much.
Before we move on, I would like to use this medium to recognize one of the personality that we invited to this program. It is Ajia Mariam from the Federal College of Forest in Mando, all the way from Mando. The bill. Welcome. Thank you. Then there is also chances for every one of us to ask any question in any language, not only English. You can ask Yoruba, you can ask Hausa, any language, just ask the question.
Any question? Any other question? But not in Igbo, because we don't have any interpretation. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. I just want to do a follow-up to the question that the last speaker asked. I want to be sure that the question you are asking concerning the root, the source of extremism, are you saying the source in history of Islam or the source in Nigeria? I want you to be very particular because there are two different questions. If Madam, our resource person, will answer that question, for some of us who know the cause, the history is completely different in Islam compared to the history in Nigeria. And the history in Nigeria did not start from Boko Haram. It's something that has been reoccurring, and the other governments have been nibbling it in the bud. But when failure of governance led to the lack of control of this particular one that has now become a monster. You understand? So I want you to be very particular on the question you asked. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I mean, the case of Nigeria. Nigeria is a case. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other person?
We're grateful to have Sheikh our endowments, and it's been long that I listened to the concise, let me say, lecture on extremism. For long I wanted something like this, and I have been working as an individual on something like this. The focus is teaching students, most especially in our Islamia schools, because it's one of the breeding ground of extremism. Any recommendations of books, because all the books that we have been teaching our students is the one that we know for long. So any recommendation on books that are going to help in curbing these ideologies? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? We want to have a question from our women here, please. So it's going to be right here. It's really cool. Please. That's right. Any other question before we move? Okay, Madam, I think you can go ahead with it.
Yes, before Madam answers that question, I still want to make a comment. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's always good to each other. I must appreciate the depth, the content, the style, and the details with which our resource person presented his teachings today. So many of us who are here are learned in Islam. We know most of the things that he said. Unfortunately, we are still the ones that mislead others who are our students. Sometimes we engage in arguments or debates or teachings where we should simply say it as it is. But for the love of self and the love of either the language we speak or so many other interests, we turn it in a way that will suit us, thereby misleading our audiences, our listeners, our students. And unfortunately, we do not know the implication
to the society where we live in. And yet we will be blaming our leaders. Why I'm saying this is that if you are here and you are attentive and you listen to the lecturer speaking, and you don't have a question, it means that you are very clear with everything that he has said. Is that what it means? That is what it means. I'm asking the question the second time. Is that what it means?
Yes.
That we are very clear with the teachings that he has made today, that he has presented today. But we now all have a responsibility to ensure that these messages are carried in the way, in the form that they are to their various targets. If we have listened to him and we are very much clear with what he has said today, we expect that we should see a difference in our society. I'm saying this because aside from the question that the first speaker asked, and then the second question about books that could be guiding us, it seems to me that we are all clear with what our teacher has taught us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
I want to appreciate everyone for listening, and I'd say the appreciation they are saying, they are giving me this afternoon as a challenge to correct what is not perfect in what I've presented, because no one is along with said by scholars. Let me start by talking about the recommended books. You say that in our own organization, in our society, what we lack is coordination in our Islamic schools. Or let me say, in conjunction with the first question, we lack government support and monitoring in what we teach in our Islamic schools. There is no government hand in it. And even if you go to the Ministry of Education and say you get syllabus for Islamic schools, from Kaduna here, which we base in, you hardly get 10. The whole Kaduna chain, hardly you get 10 schools that follow that syllabus gotten from the Ministry of Education. Some are not even aware that there's a syllabus which Islamic schools, Arabic schools can be using. And we have a section for it. And that is the reason why MBIS was formed. And up till now, many of us are not taking the advantage. Because as you see MBIS, just want to tip in this one. MBIS, if our students write the exams for MBIS, they can use that results in place of WAEC to get admission in any university in the world. And the benefit in MBIS is that you write the Islamic subjects papers, Arabic subject papers, in combination with the Western education like maths, English and economics, literature, physics, biology. So you have 2-in-1 in your results, and it's standing for a while. Some few months ago, I was part of the committee that screened scholarship for Muslim students from Nigeria to Algeria. When they gave us scholarship, they said we should screen our students. Majority of of the students there use that advice to get scholarship. So, as we are here today as Malams in our Islamia, let us get to know about advice. And let us work with them and get their syllabus and base our teachings, the studies of our students based on it. So that some of them who could not make their way, if they make the emphasis, there is no need for the parents to waste their money and time again. Because our emphasis is the position of that. So that is that. But for the recommended books, I want to say something. When Imam Shafi'i was asked, in new generation like this, they say, "Yeah, Imam, what do you think we should do about what is happening in our midst?" He said, "Alaykum bil atiki dun al muhaddatha. Alaykum bil atiki dun al muhaddatha." A lot of books that are coming up now, some of it are indicating interest, selfish interest of some of the authors. But the old books which we use, they use in training us. What happened to those books? Before, what we used to have in our Islamic schools is at-tawhid, ilm al-tawhid. Now we had something like ilm al-aqidah. Ilm al-aqidah. When we were trying to form a syllabus in one form or the other day, I was secretary for that form. We are confused to say, are we to now remove tawhid and put ilm al-aqidah, or we have to say we have tawhid for this period, we have ilm al-aqidah for this period? What is the difference between it? We have to look at what our parents and our old scholars, what they did, how they managed to train us. What is not absolute in what they did, we should not say we know more than them. We are having that problem now. Anytime we prove to show knowledge that we know more than our teachers and our scholars, our life will fall into trap. What happened to those books they used for us and we were able to make it? What happened to them? And if there are any other ones now that are coming up, if we make comparison, what should be our decision? What will help us in making decision is the simplicity of the language, not cancellation of what we know. So I just, instead of me saying so book, I want to adjust that. Alaykum bil atiki dun al muhaddatha. Let us hold on to the book practice that favored the society, than thinking of new generation of ideas that is cropping up extremism. And Madam Awal, I mentioned the name of the author, Abdullahi al-Arfaji. Abdullahi al-Arfaji is a Saudi-based scholar. Abdullahi al-Arfaji, al-Arfaji. The origin of extremism, I pointed out the story of people of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. Just as some scholars said, this is how extremism used to come up. If we are talking about tracing it to some history in the Quran. And the origin of the extremism in Nigeria, I would say it is the lack of activeness of our government. Just as I said the other time, nobody is monitoring what anyone is saying. Nobody is checking what anyone is teaching. It is only we have quality assurance in our schools. Do we have anything like that in our Islamias? We don't have any indicator that will show that what this person is teaching is this thing. And once he's teaching it and he's going on with it, nobody will then want to talk. Before you know it, he has number of students spread all over everywhere. The negligence of the government is one of the problems we have here. In Algeria, I told us the other time, I said in Saudi Arabia, there are times where you cannot enter through their airports with just any book. Is it the government that check the visitors at home that will not have time to check their schools and their students? But in our own, our borders are porous. Our government are not updoing, especially on the religious affairs. They'll see it as something else. So the problem started from the negligence of our government. And secondly, if someone is caught with the act, no punishment. And that is why we are paying it up to this moment. And what we need is prayers. And we should change. We should serve as good example for the students. Because we cannot give what we don't have. We should serve as good example for the students. We have known that no government is checking us. So let us check ourselves. We have known that if anybody do anything, nobody is punishing them. We have to take care of ourselves. Boko Haram started. And when it wanted to start, when it was about to start, people who are talking, people who are saying, the interpretation this person is giving Quran is not so. Any government is not. And when the mastermind person Yusuf was caught, they said they want to do investigation so that a lot of secrets will not come up. What happened? So the negligence is from the government. The government is not checking us. It's now incumbent on us to check ourselves, to check what our children are reading in schools, and to know the kind of books we will use for them. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Break. The break is a combination of two. One will be served our lunch now. Maybe after lunch we'll have our Zoom prayer. After Zoom prayer we'll come back. Then we'll round up for like 10.
Alhamdulillah. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We are welcome back to the next segment of the program, which is to make some follow-up and a little briefing about what we have talked about. I told us the other time, I said we have the fundamental, the fundamental of Islamic jurisprudence as four. We have the Quran, we have the Hadith, we have the Qiyas, and we have the Ijma. And they are all very, very important. And just to Islam is written in all the times on earth. Well, based on what we are discussing about, that is the issue of extremism. If we go to look at Al-Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, we'll see verse there where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was calling our attention. In Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 143. Quran, chapter 2, verse 143. If we have the interpretation in English on our phone, we can go through it. Chapter 2, verse 143. Allah said, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا.
Allah has never made this our generation, our community, the Muslim community. Allah has never made us to be extreme. When we are talking about wasatiyya, it is very hard for some of us who are Muslims to take it. We are talking about the preaching of people like Sheikh Yusuf Qaradawi. He authored a lot of book about wasatiyya, being in the middle, maintaining a middle course, not being an extremist. We talk about Sheikh Muhammad al-Ghazali, we talk about Sheikh Mutawalla Sha'rawi. They all author books about being ummatan wasata, because Allah did not call Muslims an extremist. Allah called us people who maintain the middle course. In the Quran chapter 2 verse 143, Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. We made you to be a community of the middle way. We make you Muslims to be the community of what? Middle way. Don't be an extremist. When Sheikh Yusuf Qaradawi radiallahu ta'ala anhu died some few months ago, we have among Muslims, I saw it, I read it, and I heard it on social media, people who are saying he's not a good Muslim. Somebody even called him Pastor Qaradawi because of his preaching to wasatiyya. Look at, if you call people like Qaradawi a pastor, then who is a Muslim in this generation? Yusuf Qaradawi, that all his life he was vanished from his community because of Islam, and through his life he worked for Islam, and he established schools where thousands of professors came out from there. So وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. I'm telling you that even those people who are fighting this extremism are seen like non-good Muslims. It is the extremism in the people that make them to attack them, because they are telling them what is not good. So Al-Quran did not call us an extremist. He called us people of middle way. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. Why are we people of middle way? So that with the example of our lives, so that with our tolerance, with our patience, we might be bearing witnesses to the truths. We may be bearing witnesses to the truths before people, before all mankind. It is only if we maintain the middle way that the other sects in Islam will trust us, that we can work together as Muslims, that we can work together with non-Muslims as human beings. So we should see this, and please, we should preach this, we should let people know about this verse. The second one, still Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 257. Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 257. Allah is saying in that verse that لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي ومن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. 256 Surah Al-Baqarah, Quran chapter 2 verse 256. Allah says لا إكراه في الدين. There is no compulsion in the religion. There is no compulsion in the religion. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam had never forced people to embrace Islam. He invited people to Islam with attitude, with good character. Those wars he fought was to defend himself. He never for once go to challenge people that I will wage war on you, except those who threw hand of difficulties to him, and he said, let me revenge, and he overpowered them. All the battles, we should go and read about it. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just to demonstrate that there is no compulsion in Islam, when he conquered Mecca, when he was leaving Mecca, how many are there? How many Muslims in the whole world? For the first 5 years, Muslims were 40 in number. Before Sayyidina Umar now embraced Islam and became number 40. And throughout the 10-13 years he spent in Mecca, how many are the Muslims? But when he migrated to Medina, that was where Nasrullah came. And he was coming back to Mecca for Hajj with like 10,000 Muslims. Look at how he preached Islam through peace, how he preached Islam through logic, how he preached Islam through being a man of middle way, not extremists. As he was coming to Mecca, the unbelievers, the Quraysh, saw him and the people in large number. They were terrified. They were scared. The people began to run hectare-scatter from one place to the other. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, okay, you, my warriors, anybody that run to enter into their house of worship, the house of their idols, that means they have gone to seek refuge from their God. Don't touch them. Look at middle way. Anybody that enter into their shrine, don't touch them. They are together with their God. Does it mean Rasulullah believed their God? Look at the idea. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, okay, if anybody run and seek refuge from Abu Sufyan, my uncle, a old man, because of his age, don't touch him. So the warriors entered in Mecca and the unbelievers began to run from one place to the other. They are now rushing towards house of Abu Sufyan. Abu Sufyan, recalling all what he has done to the prophet, thinking that it is time for the prophet to revenge, people now began to rush into the house of Abu Sufyan. Abu Sufyan was shouting, don't bring me problem into the house. Even myself, I'm seeking for refuge somewhere. Please go out, please go out. They told him, they said, you never heard what he said? He said what? He said, anybody that come to seek refuge with you, they should not touch that person. Abu Sufyan said, he said so. They said yes. He said so. They said yes. When he came, he saw them. He said, Ma antum tazununa anni fa'ilun bikum. You people, what do you think I will do for you today? They say, Al khair, Ya akhal kareem. We know you mean good, Our beloved brother. He said, Idhabu fa antum tallaqun. We are go, I have freed all of you. Abu Sufyan said, if you can say anybody that come to seek refuge in my place is free, that means I embrace Islam with all these people. La ikraha fi din. Does it compel them to join Islam that day? No. That is why that person that has even embraced Islam before, and because of some things, you are now trying to discriminate, we should think about it and see it as in, we cannot compel anyone to change the ideology on what he believes. La ikraha fi din, qad tabayyana rushdu min al-ghayy. It is clear what is right and what is wrong. فَمَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ, whoever believes in Allah, وَيَعْمَلُ صَالِحًا, and is doing good. وَمَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَيَعْمَلُ صَالِحًا فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا وَاللَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Again, I made mention of Surah Al-Hud the other time, Quran chapter 11, verse 118. I just want us to see these verses. We know them already, and we know them. We are just trying to prescribe to us that these are some of the verses we should let people know, especially those people who are trying to be extremists. Sometimes, those who are not Muslims, when they see us reciting Quran. We went to a program. It was an economic program organized by Union Bank that year. And in that program, a professor that came to talk about economy was talking as if he's telling us something new. He was boasting. He said he has predicted this recession because you know that in the history of economy, no country experiences booming of economy for 8 years. No country will experience it for 8 years. And that is why he has been predicting that this oil booming that is doing, it will come to something. He was telling us history. So when they say I should talk, as an Islamic financial expert, I said, my own Quran said, Ma faratna fil kitab min shay. There is nothing left untouched in the Quran. This economy that you are talking about, my prophet has said it 1,444 years ago. He said, how? He said, go and look at the story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. We Muslims will have no reason to misbehave. If you see Christian, if a Christian is telling you that Jesus Christ said we should marry, Jesus Christ never practiced marriage because he didn't marry. He only said it. Our own prophet say it and practice it. Why are you, as a marriage man, why are you confused? Jesus Christ said, if you have children, you should train them. He never had children. He only said it. Our own prophet, he said it and he practiced it because he has children. Jesus Christ said, do good to your father. He never had father. Our own prophet had father, and he told you, even if the father is late, this is what you do. If he's alive, my uncles are replaced with the dead. So we never see why Muslims should misbehave. Everything is contained in our Quran, and every practice is in our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I told the man, I said, the economy you are talking about, go to Surah to Yusuf. Allah has said, when the king dreamt that he saw fat cow being swallowed by a very slimy and tiny cow, Yusuf said, Sabu Sinina. As we are talking about 8 years now, Quran say it is Sabu Sinina, it is 7 years. But I will sum it 8 for you. I will sum it to 8 years for you because when we are talking about lunar calendar, 11 days in addition to 1 year of lunar calendar makes 1 year of Gregorian calendar. So if we take 11 times, 11 days times that 7 is almost 8 years that you are talking about. Our Quran talker. You can see everything is contained in our Quran. Why are we misbehaving? In Surah Al-Hud, Allah said, Surah Al-Hud 118 to 119, وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَجَعَلَ النَّاسَ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً. Had Allah wished, He would have made all the community, all the generation, all these people on the earth to follow one path. وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ. You will never cease to disagree. You will always disagree. إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبِّي. Except those who Allah wish and love and wish to bless. وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. Allah created them for that. Those Allah created for Rahmah, Allah created them for Rahmah. Those Allah created to face punishment on the day of resurrection, they are the ones that will never listen. What you have is to say it. You cannot enforce them. وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ goes for you that you are righteous, that you are in Rahmah. وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ goes to the people that disbelieve, they are for punishment. May Allah spare us from punishment. وَتَمَّتْ كَلْمَةُ رَبِّكَ لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. So, if we go to Surah Al-Mujadala, for those who are not Muslims, in Surah Al-Mujadala, Allah is telling us, because there are still some things that used to bring discrepancies and argument between us. No reason why you should say because this person is not a Muslim, my Islam did not tolerate me to do and to and to relate with him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in this glorious Quran, there is a chapter in the Quran called the chapter of Rome. The chapter of Rome. Where is Rome? Is it not the capital city for the Christians? Why did you think Allah put Surah of Rome in the Quran? If you go to the beginning of that Surah to Rome, Gulliver to Rome, Allah said, Gulliver to Rome. The Rome Christians were defeated. Why did Allah mention it? Because when the idol worshippers of them defeated the Christians, the Muslims were sad. They were sad. Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, because that time betting was not forbidden. He betted with one unbeliever that, I swear to God that these Christians will win you. He now said, if